The Tao of Self-Confidence, Episode 671. Welcome to the Tao of Self-Confidence, where I share stories of amazing women who have discovered their inner journey to self-confidence. Visit our website at thetaoofselfconfidence.com. Your inner journey to self-confidence awaits. Well, hello friend. Welcome to the Tao of Self-Confidence, where I share stories of amazing women who have discovered their inner journey to self-confidence. I'm your host today, Sheena Yap Chan, and today I have an amazing lady on the show today. She's a travel blogger, and I'm really excited to have her on and share her story with us today on self-confidence. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce you to Esther JuLee. Esther, how are you today? Maybe you can fill in a little bit more about yourself to the listeners.
Hi, I'm good. I'm a travel blogger. I've been doing it for about 6 years. Prior to that, I had a wedding photography business. And then before that, I was a chemist. So I've been kind of all over the place, but yeah.
Awesome. Well, thanks for sharing that. And Esther, what's your cultural background?
I'm Korean. So I was actually born in Korea. I moved to the US when I was 2.5. So I grew up in the Midwest as the only Asian kid in my class.
Thanks for sharing that. And what'd be your favorite self-confidence quote?
My favorite self-confidence quote, I actually had to look up a few because I don't know that I had one that was specific to self-confidence, but I found one that kind of vibed with me from Tina Fey, Bossy Pants. Don't waste your energy trying to change opinions. Do your thing and don't care if they like it.
Thanks for sharing that. And, that's a great quote, especially, as women, especially Asian women. We always feel like, we worry about what other people think of us all the time, not realizing most of the time they're not even thinking about you.
Yeah, most people are just thinking about themselves too,
When we learn to kind of let that go, it really is a great feeling. So thanks for sharing that great quote. And in your own words, how do you define self-confidence?
I kind of define it the same way, like do your thing, like you do you. And I mean, everyone has their own set of insecurities. It might manifest differently for people, but yeah, I think most importantly, you just have to do what you do you.
Thanks for sharing that great definition. And Esther, what was your life like before your discovery of self-confidence?
I grew up very shy, and growing up in the Midwest and being very different, the only one that was different, I would say I did grow up very insecure and shy and not knowing where I stood in society, right? So I don't know when exactly that changed. I remember in college, I just started trying to put myself out there more. Before, I just was afraid to make friends. I just didn't know how to, I grew up being the only different person, or so I thought, right? And then I definitely was bullied as a kid, not severely, but still just being different. I remember growing up thinking, oh, I wish I was white because then my life would be so much easier. I wouldn't be the only weird Asian looking kid in class. And it wasn't until college that I started just kind of coming more out of my shell. I wouldn't call myself an extrovert, but if my friends who met me at that time think of me as an extrovert, because I would just constantly try to push myself to go out there, talk to people, meet people, kind of be the life of the party. And then I think only later in life, maybe late 20s and 30s, is when I kind of settled into this more, I'm just going to do me. I'm an introvert. I don't actually have to push myself to be someone that I'm not. And yeah, I would say that's kind of how I settled on. That's my discovery of self-confidence. Just realizing this is me and that's okay. I don't have to be this extrovert. I don't have to be XYZ. This is who I am.
Thanks for sharing that. And, I like how you mentioned that you are an introvert, right? Because a lot of people feel like confidence is being loud and boisterous and you have to do all these crazy things, but really it's just really being yourself. You can be an introvert and still be confident.
Yeah, and what's kind of weird is I think as I get older, I realize there's a lot of quiet, confident people. They don't speak up as much, and a lot of the people who are just being really loud end up being the ones that are not confident. in themselves. It's just a really strange thing. But then you grow up thinking that like if you're outgoing and you push yourself to like be out there, that's the definition of confidence. It's so true.
Yeah. I mean, the great thing about confidence is there's so many ways to do it. And like, you don't have to pick one way of being confident. You just pick the way that helps you. And because of, your realizations, what's your life been like now?
My life has just been, I think it's just been generally easier, less stressful. Like, I think I'm able to spend more time doing what I love. And that's definitely helped me grow the blog and in, whatever I'm pursuing. Because I feel like if you're constantly worried about what other people are thinking, you're wasting a lot of your time. You could be using that to do something really meaningful.
Thanks for sharing that. And Esther, to the woman who's listening to your episode, she may be in her own journey to self-confidence. What would be that one tip you would give to her?
My tip would just be, I think we are our own worst critics. So just to be kind to yourself and just to be kind to other women on their journey as well. I feel like we can be like overly critical of ourselves, maybe sometimes other people. So yeah, just always to remember to be kind to yourself.
Thanks for sharing that great tip. And I totally agree. Sometimes we don't know, a woman's story, right? And we just see the outside factors, not realizing there's more to their story. And if we understood their story, we can just realize we're all human, right? And we're just trying to do our best out there. So I really love that tip that you mentioned.
And I did hear this sometime a while back. I'm totally gonna butcher it, but someone was sharing this, I think probably at a conference, and they were saying, well, if you had a best friend that was constantly putting you down and saying no, you can't do this, you're terrible at XYZ, would you really want to keep that best friend around? And sometimes that person is you, and you're the one telling yourself those things. If you kind of put it in that kind of perspective, you're like, wow, that is kind of true. You wouldn't want that person to stick around. Why am I doing that to myself?
Thanks for sharing that. That's so true. We got to be our own best friends. So thanks for sharing that. And if our listeners wanted to get to know a little bit more about you and what you do, or check out some of your work, is there any links or social media profiles we can connect with?
You can find me at localadventure.com. And on Instagram, you can also find me at Esther JuLee, EstherJulee.
Thanks for sharing that. And to our listeners, if you want to connect with Esther, you can also head on over to the taoofselfconfidence.com and search for Esther's name. Her show notes will pop up along with everything else that we talked about. And I really just want to thank Esther today for taking the time to share her story and tips with us on self-confidence. So thank you so much, Esther.
Thanks for having me.
Not a problem. It was really great having you on the show. And to our listeners, be on the lookout for another new episode of another amazing woman's journey to self-confidence, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye for now. Thank you for tuning in to another amazing episode of the Tao of Self-Confidence. Get your free self-talk tape for building self-confidence by visiting our website at thetaoofselfconfidence.com. Your inner journey to self-confidence awaits.